Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I took Idiocracy's tip and tightened up the trolleys on the hoist while it was in the track. I took my tip and did it while the track was down here. Now I'm going to go up and finish fastening down that track. I got a couple of C-clamps rather than those ratchet clamps. The ratchet clamps don't hold enough. A couple of C-clamps and a steel plate, I'll be good to go. Tool pouch gets hit here every time I put it on. Doesn't help that I put the 1/2-inch drill motor in here. But I want to be able to clear out the holes. Toss this over on that tarp. There. Perfect shot. Now this one is up here, but I don't think it's lined up right. So I'm gonna rig up a plate and pull it over where I want it. There. Now, let's see. Draw that up with a C-clamp and loosen these 3/8 nuts. Place them with lock nuts. That'll make life easier. Let it go. So I've got scry here. Make sure everything's going to go. Yep, still loose. So we got 2 bolts through this already and they're locked in, so I don't have to do anything with that. That one's all tightened down, ready to go. This one I'm going to put another C-clamp on the bottom and draw this track up tight against that. That should make things fit a little better. At least I hope. I got clearance on this side. That should be able to get that a little bit there. Then I'll put the bolts in down here on this one and lock that down, and that'll have everything lined up with the inside edge of this rafter. Now, the inside edge of the rafter right down there works just fine, and the track rolls this far with no problem. So I'm pretty sure I'm good to make it down to the end. I only got 3 more feet to go. No bind, no nothing. I'm really pleased with that. That rumble, that is weld spatter on the track. I'm going to have to go up there with a file and clean that off. I'll do that on the one down there in the bottom on the welding bench before I bring it up. Live and learn. Loose a little bit, make sure it relaxes enough so the 2 of them work together. There. Still good. Got this side towards me a little bit tighter than the other one. There, now we're up even. Want to share the load between the 2 bolts. Don't want to overload one. Now, here comes the fun part. Clean. Alrighty then. Now, if I got a bolt that rides up on top of the weld on this one, that's just the way it's going to be. Because I don't want to have to try and take all this down just to get one track straight. It's going to sit just flush, just the way I want it. bit wider channel. The 2-inch stuff is wide enough to get the bolt and the wrench in there, but an extra 1/2 inch would have made a lot of difference. Okay. Now, get the carriage bolt in over here. Oh, look at that, first shot. Can't get better than that. Sits up flush, no grinding needed. This end was the last 2 tracks that I welded. They were a little better job on the welding. Putting that nut on the bottom means it doesn't slide around on me. Decided it's going to help to have a hammer in the tool pouch, and it does. Well, I got a loop on there. Nice solid building. This piece of angle iron on top of the rail here, top of the rafter, that's the support for the garage door, but it's also a brace for this rafter. It keeps the two separated the right distance. Now they've got a hat shape cross beam up at the top that the sheet metal attaches to, but this forms a tension box. Makes a box that is anchored across the center and on both ends by these garage door opener holders, because I've got one of those in the middle. Actually, it's a doubled up angle iron. Then there's another angle iron over on the far side and an angle iron here. That's got this center anchored pretty solidly. Now, if I have any trouble with this hoist wiggling the building at all, I've got one strap across the middle, and of course they're all tied into the sheet metal on the sides. But if I have any trouble with this, I'm going to extend this piece of angle iron back to the rafter behind me, and then on back to the back wall, because I already did that in the front. That's the line that the wires attach to, the conduit attaches to, but it also braces that front door and keeps the garage door from shaking the building as it goes up and down. So I've got Plans for reinforcement back here. I've got reinforcement here. I think I'm going to be good. And this track is actually going to be pulling down on the rafters. It's not going to be pulling sideways on the rafters, because the hoist is going to be able to roll back and forth inside this track so that it will not develop, unless I screw up, it won't develop any side load on the trolleys. And I've got an anchor every 2.5 feet, so this bottom rafter piece is set up with a stress bar here on the bottom, stress bar here up on top. This is supposed to help put strength in the top, because in order for this to bend, it has to stretch this. In order for this to bend, it has to stretch this. So by the time I get everything all bolted up solidly like I've got it, I don't think I'm going to have any trouble at all. Now, I've only got a 440-pound hoist. If somebody comes in here and thinks that they want to put on a 2-ton hoist, all bets are up. The total load on the ceiling should be 40 pounds per square foot. That's the capacity. But you got to remember, we put a door, and we put conduit and clamps and track and a hoist and everything else on here. So you got to add all that together, subtract that from your load capacity. Then if you got a wet roof, you got to add in that weight too. If you got snow on the roof, you got to add in that weight too. Best to just be careful and say, okay, I'm going to stay way under the load rating of the roof, and I'll be able to use these rafters as part of my structure to hold the hoist. So, being a little bit cautious on the thing is never a bad idea. Now, if you absolutely have to, you got to pick up something heavy, you put an upright underneath this track. Bring a piece of 4x4 in here, tuck it underneath the track on either side of the trolley, and it wouldn't hurt to put a truss or a 4x4 underneath this track too, just to support it. That way everything is pulling evenly and equally and putting compression on those 4x4s, so you're not pulling down on the roof. A little bit of extra work to make it happen, but it'll save you a lot of work putting the building back up later. If you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.